Hi guys, this is the review for the Unit 7.5 test over similar triangles. So we're just going to go over each of the questions on here and show you how to do it. So let's start with the first one. It says, given a choice between doing an oral and a written report, 16 of the 24 students chose to do an oral report. Find the ratio of written to oral reports. So I put this question on here because you guys struggled a little bit with ratios last time, and I wanted to make sure we reviewed this. So it says 16 out of the 24 students, and they want you to find the ratio of written to oral. Okay, so I always just underline the words I'm looking at and then fill in the numbers. So the 16 represents, it says 16 out of 24 chose to do an oral, so 16 represents the oral report. And then 24 is a total. It's not actually a number of written. So we have to subtract 24 minus 16. That gets you 8, and that's for the written. So this is the ratio of 8 to 16, which simplifies if I divide both by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 16 divided by 8 is 2. You can also simplify on your calculator by doing division and then pushing math enter, enter. Number 2. A model of a lighthouse has a diameter of 6 inches and a height of 12 inches. If the actual diameter is 20 feet, find its actual height. So we're comparing diameter, sorry, I was going to alternate colors so they don't mesh together. Diameter to height. Okay, so then the diameter is 6 to 12. And it says the actual diameter is 20, so that's going to go on top because diameter is on top. Find the actual height. And then you're just going to go ahead and cross multiply. Looking at this proportion, I see 6 over 12, so I know this is actually 1/2. So over here I know this fraction is also going to have to be 1/2. So I know my answer is actually going to be 40 before I do anything. But to show the cross product, for those of you who just need the same way every single time, it's 6x equals, and then 12 times 20, which is 240, and then we'll divide by 6, so x equals 40. Okay. Alright, number 3. Name the theorem or postulate that can be used to prove these two triangles are similar. So remember we had 3 choices. We had side, 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 angle, side, or angle, angle. So looking at this, I noticed that each triangle has an angle marked. And then I also noticed that it has sides hugging the angle. So this one would be proved by side, side, side. I'm sorry, I said side, side, side and circled. It's supposed to be side, angle, side. Okay. On number 4, it says to identify the similar triangles. So when they're embedded in each other like this, we have to identify the angles that are the same. So I would draw them both facing the same direction and mark the angles, and that's going to help you to figure out what goes with what as far as when we're identifying the triangles. So the big one is going to be y, x, z, and the small one is going to be, so we have to look at the angles here. So x is this one that we marked like this, so we're going to call this x. And I marked the wrong, I marked the big one wrong also. Let's go ahead and erase the big one. I don't know what I was thinking. I got a little distracted, to be completely honest. Okay, so on the small one, x is this angle, n is the right angle, and m is the top angle. Okay, then on the big one, y is the right angle, x is this angle, and then z is the one that's not marked. So it may not be drawn exactly the same direction as this triangle, but I marked it based upon the fact that angle x had to be in the same place, and the right angle had to be in the same place. Okay, so it says identify the similar triangles. If you draw them like this, it's really easy to figure out. So A says in a triangle XYZ, so XYZ, so I need to go this way, X, N, M. So not A, it's going to be B, X, N, M. Okay? Then it says to find the length of MN. So that means I need to probably list all these lengths on here. So from Y to Z, it's 16. And from Y to X, no, this is Y to X. Sorry. from y to x is 16, and from y to z is 20. From n to m is x, and from n to x is 6. Okay, so then you can just write your proportions. 20 over x equals 16 over 6. Cross multiply, so that's 120 equals 16x, and then divide. 120 divided by 16 is 7.5. So mn equals 7.5. Okay. Number 6 says a 6-foot tall fence post can cast a 2.5-foot shadow. So I'm going to draw that picture. It's 6 feet tall. It casts a 2.5-foot shadow. That's 2.5. At the same time, we've got a nearby clock tower who casts a 45-foot shadow. What is the height of the tower? So that's our question. I'm going to put an x there. And you just write your proportion. 6 over x equals 2.5 over 45. And multiply. So 2.5x equals 270 when you cross multiply. And then divide. So x equals 108, and we're talking feet. Okay? Okay, number 7. So we're going to find the length of CE, which we're going to put an x because it says to find that length. So we're going to do the small triangle over the whole triangle side. So that's x over 35. And then we're going to do on the other side the small triangle, which is 20, over the whole length, which is 28. Then you just cross multiply and divide. 700 equals 28 times x. 700 divided by 28 is 25. So CE is 25. Okay. The next one says find FH, find this length right here, so I'm going to put an x, so that GH is parallel to DE. So in other words, they're just saying write your ratios and solve for x. And then when you do that, it means that those lines have to be parallel. So remember with this one, we're going to mark the tiny ones, and then we're going to mark the big ones. So this is the tiny one, 10 over 15, so the ones on the same side, equals, and then x over 9. Okay, so 90 equals 15x, divide 90 by 15, x equals 6. Number 9. These three lines are parallel, so remember that this part and this part and this part and this part, we mark them those colors, and then we say that the green is to the yellow as the yellow is to the green. So we just write a proportion. 42 over 12 and 2y over 16. Cross multiply. 672 equals 12 times 2 is 24, so 24y. Divide by 24, y equals 28. Remember, the altitudes are proportional as well. So it says altitudes AP and XQ. Find AP, so let's put an X where they're asking us to find. So we're going to put the altitudes with each other, and we're going to put the long sides together. So x over 5 equals 27 over 12. 135 equals 12x. Divide by 12. X equals 11.25. So AP is 11.25. Okay. Remember, if we have angle bisectors, then we have congruent, or we have proportional parts as well. So we'll say this goes with this, and this goes with this. So we say 16 over x plus 2, and then 40 over 3x. 16 times 3x is 48x, and this is 40 times x plus 2. 48x equals, if we distribute, it's 40x plus 80. Subtract 40x from both sides. 8x equals 80, so x equals 10. Okay. Number 12. Same thing as this problem we've already done once, number 6. So we're going to draw the picture. 5-foot pole casts a 3-foot 4-inch shadow. 3 feet 4 inches. And then a tree casts a 20-foot shadow. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to find the height of the tree, which is right here. 3 feet 4 inches, we need to write that as a decimal. Okay, so 4 inches is 4 out of 12. So 4 divided by 12 gets you 0.3 repeating. So this is 3 1/3. Okay, and so 3 4/12 is 3 1/3. And then in order to work this problem, we need to make this into an improper fraction. So remember to do that, we say 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 1, which is 10. So we have 10/3 here. Okay, that means I have 3 wholes and 1 extra, 10/3. So we'll cross this out and call this 10/3. And now we can solve this problem. So we say 5 over x equals 10/3 over 20. And people always get scared about the fractions. It's totally fine. 10/3 x equals 5 times 20 is 100. And now you just divide by 10/3. Okay, and remember you can do that on your calculator by going like this. 100 divided by, and then alpha y equals enter, 10/3. You get your answer, x is 30. So the tree is 30 feet. Okay. Number 13, it says triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR. I don't have 2 triangles here, so I need to draw them. ABC, PQR, and label them. AB is 18, BC is 20, AC is 22, and QR is 25. It wants me to find the perimeter of PQR. So what this means is I need to find QP and PR in order to find that perimeter. So I'm going to call those X and Y. And that's going to help me to find the perimeter of these triangles. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find X. So I know that 18 over X equals, and I'm going to use 20 over 25. Cross multiply and solve. So 450 equals 20x. Divide by that 20. X equals 22.5. Then I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to find y. So 22 over y equals 20 over 25. So 20y equals 550. And then divide by 20. Y equals 27.5. It asks us to find the perimeter. So this one's 27.5. This one's 22.5. So to find the perimeter, I'm going to add all three together. So perimeter equals 22.5 plus 27.5 plus 25. And that's 75. Okay. The model of a suspension bridge is 18 inches long and 20 inches tall. If the length is actually 1650 feet, find its height. So They're comparing length to height, right? So it's 18 inches long to 2 inches tall. The length is 1,650 feet. Find its height. So multiply. So that's 3,300 is equal to 18x. Divide by 18. X equals 183.3 repeating. And it's going to be the actual height, so we're going to say feet. Okay. 15, 9-foot garden shed casts a 5-foot 3-inch shadow, and a house casts a 28-inch shadow, or sorry, 28 feet shadow. So this right here we need to make into feet. So 5 feet 3 inches. It's 5 and 3 out of 12, remember, which is 5 and 1/4. I can make that one a decimal. I don't have to make that one into a fraction, so that might be easier to deal with. And we're going to solve this for this x right here. So 9 over x equals 5.25 over 28. 9 over x and 5.25 over 28. 5.25x equals 252. Then we divide. X equals 48 feet. 16. Of the 112 students in the band, 45 were in the drum section. So 112 is going to be total. 45 were in the drum section. What is the ratio of drummers to other musicians? So we have 45 drummers. To get our other musicians, we're going to subtract. 112 minus 45 is 67. So we have 67 other musicians. Then you're going to divide that on your calculator, push math, enter to simplify, and that's actually the simplest it's going to get. Okay? Number 17 says find GP, so I'm going to put an X where GP is. I'm going to find that. And this one, remember, is going to be the part to the whole thing, and then the part on this side to the whole thing. This side's whole is 5.5 plus 2.5, which is 8. And this whole is x plus 3.3. So we're going to write our proportion, x to x plus 3.3 equals, and then we're going to say 5.5 over 8. Alright, so do 8 times x, which is 8x, and then do 5.5 times x plus 3.3, and we solve that one. Okay, so 8x equals 5.5x plus, and then 5.5 times 3.3 is 18.15. 8 minus 5.5. 2.5x equals 18.15, and then we divide. 7.26. Okay. On number 18, let's see if I can do this one a little better than I did last time. I maybe need to focus a little bit more. So we're going to take our two triangles and draw them out. We're going to draw our right angle in there. They share this angle up here at the top, which is letter X. I'm going to make sure and put that on my picture. On the big triangle, the right angle is Y. On the small triangle, the right angle is N. And then we just have to worry about our other letters. So the big triangle is going to be X, Y, and Z. So Z is the top. And the little triangle is X, N, and M. Now we just have to identify them. So we say triangle XYZ is similar to triangle XNM. In fact, I think it's the same picture as the last time. But when you're focused, you can do a lot better at it. Alright, almost done here. says in the figure, triangle EFD is similar to triangle JKI. EG is a median of EFG and JL is a median of JKL. Find JL if EF is 36. So let's label that. EF is 36. And EG is 18. And JK is 56. So what it is saying is that we need to find JL. There's JL right there. We're finding that one. It says that EG is a median here. These are both medians. And let's put an X for what we're trying to find. So if it's a median, that means that it cuts the triangle into two equal parts right here, and it cuts this triangle into two equal parts right there, right? And so, let's go ahead and figure out X. We can put our medians as a ratio, 18 over X, and we can put our sides as a ratio, 36 over 56, and solve. So 18 times 56 is 1008 equals 36x. And divide by 36, so x equals 28. So JL, that says JJ. JL equals 28. Okay. In triangle PQR, QS bisects angle PQR, so that means these angles are congruent. Find the value of x. So remember with that, you're going to put 32 over 40 2x plus 3 over 3x minus 1. 32 over 40, 2x plus 3 over 3x minus 1, and you're going to solve it. So you're going to cross multiply. 40 times 2x plus 3 equals 32 times 3x minus 1. Distribute, that's 80x plus 120. 32 times 3 is 96 minus 32. This side is Texas, so I'm going to subtract 80x. That leaves me with 16x on this side, minus 32 on this side, and 120 on this side. Add 32 to both sides, that gives me 152 is 16x, then divide. 9.5. Last two. Tokyo Tower in Japan is currently the world's tallest self-supporting steel tower. It's 333 meters tall, and John builds a Tokyo Tower model that's 2,775 millimeters tall. What is the scale? So remember, scale is model to actual. So our model is 2,775, and actual was 333. Divide on your calculator and push math enter just to be sure you got it right. And that's 25 to 3. So that's the scale. Last problem, scale. Luke wants to build a scale model of the Boeing 747 jetliner. He wants every inch of his model to represent 60 feet. So that's our scale right there. Inches represent 60 feet. 1 inch represents 60 feet. So it says if the actual length is 2,537, does it go where I wrote it? No, because this is in feet, and we're trying to find in inches. So it's 2,537 on the bottom, and x on top. 2,537 equals 60x, so that means I'm going to have to divide by 60. And we're going to go ahead and round. Let's round to the nearest tenth. So it's 42.28. So that means that 2 is going to turn into a 3. If you notice, I'm going to do the same thing for this one. So I'm going to put this number here, which means I'm going to end up having it here, which means I'm going to end up dividing, right? So 2,782 divided by 60, and that's 46. And if I round that to the nearest tenth, that 3 is going to turn into a 4 because of the 6 after it. Last one, we're going to divide 392 by 60. That's 6.5. And we are done. Thanks for watching. Study for your test, please.